So hello and welcome back to another video. Now today I've come out on the rocks on these smaller tides to do any form of fishing basically. I've got a bait rod with me and I've also got a light float rod. Now the plan is, I was expecting it to be a bit calmer than this. There's actually, for a small tide, there's a fair bit of swell coming in here. The plan is, I've got a little bit of bait, a mixture of baits, some frozen lugworm that I dug a few weeks back and froze down. I think I've got a little bit of mackerel, tiny bit of squid, and maybe even some razor fish. I'm going to be fishing a 2-hook flapper rig, or a 1 up 1 down, with small little size 4 hooks, and we'll be targeting things like black bream, mackerel, anything else which is going to be on the bottom. And eventually I'll get a float out. Now I'm going to be making up some ground bait, which is just a combination of some seawater, some bread and some fish oil. And then once I've got that in the water and it's been settling for a bit, I'll chuck a float rod in and we'll see how we get on. Might get a bit of a drift coming into the rocks because we've got a bit of an onshore breeze, but I'm hoping it should be alright. Now if you hear any firing like that, whether you can hear that in the background or not, that's only because I'm next to a firing range. Now I'm out below the rocks, out the way, so hopefully I'm not going to get shot. But yeah, that's the plan for this afternoon. It's a lovely day. We're halfway through September now. The temperature's dropping a little bit. We're getting far more wind and rain. However, today's a nice settled day, and although we've got small tides, I thought I want to go out and do a bit of fishing and hopefully catch a couple of fish. So I'm going to set this rod up first, the bait rod. I'm going to get a bait in the water first and then just sit with that for a little bit, organise myself, and then I'll make the ground bait up, get that in the water too, and then, as I said, eventually get a float rod in there. So the baits I do actually have are some frozen lugworm. Now this stuff goes very mushy obviously once it's been frozen down. A lot of firing shots going on now. I've got a tiny bit of mackerel and literally just a very small bit of squid as well, and that's all I bought because I don't really think I'm going to use too much of it. Now I'm going to start by putting a few worms onto these small hooks, and I know this isn't the best angle to show you, but this is basically the rig here connected to the main line, and then just goes down to 3-way swivel and a size, I think that's a size 4. I think it's a size 4 Aberdeen, little bait stopper on it, and then further down we've got another one. The reason why it's called a 1 up 1 down is because the weight goes here. I've got a longer flowing trace here, so this one is the down, which will lay on the bottom of the seabed, and this one will just slightly float above the seabed. So I've got a 5-ounce gripper lead here. I'll chop that on, and then I'll get some worms on there, get this rod out. Now I'm at a really awkward angle. These rocks, you can see, that's the drop there, and they're all jagged like this, so although I've bought a tripod, there's not actually really anywhere to set it up, so I might just have to stick the rod in between the rocks there and just keep an eye on it all the time. Right, that's that rod out. So just click over the clicker there. Now this is a bait runner, so that is a good thing when you're multitasking and fishing multiple rods. I'm in a complete mess here, so that's going to have to do for now. Definitely not ideal, but hopefully I can set myself up properly in a bit. So while I've got that bait in the water, it means I can sort my ground bait out now. Now, literally all I've done is just emptied my freezer with bits and pieces of white bread that I just bang in there each time a loaf is going off or anything like that. I'm not going to make much ground bait. I've got about a quarter of this bucket full of seawater, and then I'll just break it up into just roughly for now. Loads of gunshots. I'll keep one of these bags, it's a rubbish bag. Now, so quite simply, all I'm going to do, get my hands in there once I've got all the bread in, mash it all up, and then, oh no, nearly lost that one. Yeah, mash it all up. Oh, there's a bloody wasp. As I was saying, mash it all up. I was just getting attacked by a wasp. And then I'll add a little bit of fish oil in at the end. So that's all the bread in there for now. Just keep an eye on that rod still. Get all that nice and mixed in. Now, I do apologise for the filming. It is actually really difficult to film at this place. You can go a little higher on the rocks here if you're just fishing baits, and it's fine because you've got a bit of a platform, but you can't float fish from up there. So to do that, you've got to come down onto this bit, and it's all just little like rivets and ledges, so very difficult to keep your balance. And you know, main thing is really safety. You know, filming comes second to that, but obviously you try and get a better angle. Oh, there's a bite. Had a really good knock on that. Couldn't tell if that was bream or going again, or a wrasse maybe. Could we have a fish in the first 5 minutes? That'd be good. Oh look, there's mullet. Mullet swimming past right there. Now this is always what they do here. You see them so often, they'll come super close in here. But you try and catch the bloody things. What is that? Is that a very small black bream? That's a little picture. Look at the size of that. So we've got our little micro species here, if he stays still. But these fish are so cool looking. Little tiny Couch's bream. Look at the size of that thing. That is mad. Lovely to see. He's only very just hooked. There we go, he's just popped off. Check him out. Tiny little Couch's bream. Off he goes. So a little micro bream to start. Now before I bait that rod up again, because I've just seen those mullet down there. Now I'd absolutely love to catch a mullet, but I don't think it's likely. So I'm going to be fishing the float rod just for anything, any small species like that, any little bream, garfish, mackerel if they happen to come in close, but a mullet would be absolutely brilliant. I'd actually really be happy with a black bream on the float rod, because when they take on the light gear, it's so much fun. Get a lot of scent in there. And then once again, sort myself out, get a bait back in the water. So for the float fishing today, what I'm using is a light float rod. This is a 12-foot Daiwa Theory Specialist. Now this was actually gifted to me from Jay a couple of years ago, so I use it for all of this light style of float fishing. Now on here I've got a size 4000 Shimano Nasky, and I've got that loaded with, this is either 7 or 8 pound line all the way through. I'm using a little 12-gram float with a little 12-gram bull weight there, and then I'm using about 3.5 feet fluorocarbon leader, and I've got a size 10 Kanazan hook on the end here. So as tricky as this is, whilst trying to dodge all the wasps which are doing my head in, I'm just going to get a little piece of bread like that, and then basically just wrap that around the hook. The excess can go in the bucket, and we'll soon see how well this float holds up in the water. I'm hoping it's going to be okay. So I've got the depth set on that, I'd say 9 or 10 foot. And there we go, floats out, drag set. Get a bit more of that chum in the water. And we'll see how we get on. So I'm getting a few little hits on the float here. I think it could be garfish, because I had a hit just a minute ago. I saw a silver shimmer not too far under the surface. Yep, oh, there we go. There's a hit. So you just see the float creeping down, and then it goes down a little bit, pops back up. It's just nibbling at it. It's just winding a bit of that slack. And if it hasn't taken the bread already and it goes under again, I'm lifting into it. Let's have a look. Yeah, oh no, it's still on there. Drop it in a bit closer. Get a bit more of that in there. Get rid of this bloody wasp. They are an absolute nuisance. God, it's not easy on these rocks. I can tell you that. Right, new bait's out, floats in the water down there. Just put 2 ladles of chum in there. What I'd give for a flat platform right now. Oh, let's bite straight away. Hang on. What's this? Oh yeah, we're in. Oh, what is this? Gotta be a bream. Right, don't swim down behind that rock. What is it, 2 fish? I think it's a wrasse and a bream. Oh no, it's a mackerel and a bream. Oh no, I don't want them to get tangled in my other line. Oh, the mackerel's off, you bastard. That was a good sized mac as well. And it is tangled in my other line, brilliant. Look at that. That bream's just down there for now. That's annoying. That mackerel was a nice sized mackerel. It came off right down here. Oh, my float rod. My float's going under. Bloody hell, it's all going on. Oh, there we go. My float's in. I'm hand lining it. Oh, it's off. What the hell? That was a garfish, I think. Oh man, this is mental. I am in such a bloody state here. Right, I'm turning the camera off. I need to get sorted. Right, I've released the float rod. I got so much line all over the rocks. Oh, bloody hell. Right, there we go. Now, that was 5 minutes of bloody madness. What the hell's going on? I literally just cast that bait out. As soon as it hit the bottom, bang, 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 you could hear a fish on it. Obviously lost that mackerel. I've got the bream down here. I'm going to keep that. It's a keeper size. And then my float went under. Now, as I was pulling it in, you could tell that it wasn't a big fish. I'm fairly certain it was a garfish. But talk about wrong timing. Oh, Jesus Christ. Right, I'm gonna get new baits in first, and then we'll sort the float rod out. But I'm gonna keep chumming the water because it seems to be working. Oh, I need a coffee.
Oh, the wasps are back.
These things are honestly doing my head in. We've got fresh baits out. I just thought I'd hold it for a second in case it got hit by the mackerel on the way down again.
Go away.
Now, I was really tempted to bring a lure rod with me as well, and a metal, because I knew there'd be mackerel around here. But it was just way too much to carry. And I did think if you can get the mackerel in close enough, they should take the bread on the float anyway. Or you can just float fish a bit of that mackerel or something. I cast this a little further away from where I wanted it to go. So I'm hoping I haven't missed the fish. Let's pop it down. We'll see how it goes for the next 5-10 minutes. I'm getting so many hits on the float at the moment, and I'm missing every single one. They gotta be garfish. It's the odd time when you lift into it, you can feel a bit of tension, but obviously it doesn't feel like a big fish or anything like that. There we go, it's under again. And it's off. I don't understand. I don't know if you can see that on camera, that went all the way under. The fish has got it in its mouth. I can still see the bread on the hook. I've just bought that other bait rod in. I'm going to chuck some squid on it. Right, so I've just gone for some squid tentacles on each hook. Now this stuff should last a lot longer in the water than the frozen worm as well. Bugger off, wasp. Right, that's on the bottom. Oh God, they're everywhere again. Leave me alone. Oh, I just put that down and then I had a hit. Just one single thump. Yep. Oh yeah, there we go. We're in. What's this gonna be? Mackerel or bream? That looks silver. Oh, it's off. Is it off? You bloody... Oh! I tell you what, my luck today. Couldn't catch a cold. That was a bream. I could see it on the surface. It's obviously not hooked properly. But the good thing is that bait's still intact. So that is going straight back out. So frustrating when you have days like this. You know there's fish there, you're getting consistent bites and hits, just cannot seem to hook anything. It went quiet for 10 minutes. I reeled in, put the baits back out there, we're getting a few hits. Yep. Right, stay up. This feels like a bream to me. Black bream, yeah. There we go. Another one down. That one's bleeding a bit, but that's okay because it'll be coming home for tea. Right, can we hook one of these finicky garfish? And the amount of hits I've missed today is quite unreal. These things are so annoying. Now, one thing I just did a bit differently then is I put the whole hook point sticking out of the bread there. I doubt you'll see that properly, but that was the first time I've just tried that. I just thought I need the whole exposure of the hook point. And at least that one hooked up for a few seconds. There we go, I'm in, finally. it going to stay on? It's going absolutely mental. Oh my god! Oh, where's he going? That's actually a good sized garfish, that. Check out the size of that bad boy. That's a really big garfish. That's oh, he's just snapped the hook, look. Oh no, he hasn't snapped it, it's just popped off. That's a big old garfish, that. Well, I finally managed to catch one. And oh my god, what a lot of effort that's taken. This is obviously nothing to be proud of, but that there is a good sized garfish, that. Probably pushing a pound, but it's quite long. I mean, as garfish come, that's kind of a good size to get, so I am actually going to keep that one and I'll use it in my bait freezer. Literally, I've just cast the bait rod in a completely different area, way over that way, so the line's cutting right across me, behind me. So I chum the other side of the rocks here, and then just flick the float out that way, and we've actually, lo and behold, managed to catch one. So at least that's something. But I might give it one more flick in there, because I chummed it quite heavily, so there might be a few in there. Could even attract some black bream in yet, so let's give it another bash for 10 minutes, and then we'll get out of here. Again. Oh no! Get to put the camera on. Up. Well, I was on. Now I'm very much not. So welcome back, and now it's time for the cook up. Now what I've done today to save some time in this video, because I don't want it to run on for too long, is I've just prepped a few ingredients. Now what I'm going to be making today with the 2 black bream that I caught yesterday is a Thai yellow curry. Now this curry is absolutely amazing and it goes brilliantly with fish. Now you can obviously use it, use things like chicken with it as well, but for fish it's a very subtle, very light curry. So black bream, bass, anything like that works absolutely perfectly in it. So what I'm going to start by doing is making the paste, and this is really simple. I've got some ingredients here. I've already, just to save a bit of time, put a few of the ingredients into the blender already. I'm going to add some other bits, so I'll show you what I'm doing. Blitz it up, and then we're just going to fry that off. Add a few more ingredients. We've got some coconut milk, got some tender stem broccoli, some cherry tomatoes, some diced potato to go in it as well. And then, yeah, I'll show you as I'm doing everything step by step. It's not going to take too long. Thai cooking is very quick, very fragrant and full of flavour. So looking forward to this one. Let's get to it. So if I run you through this very quickly, in here already I've got some ketchup, some tamarind, mild chili powder, ground cumin, ground coriander, bit of ground cinnamon, fish sauce, soy sauce, white pepper, and some turmeric. And then I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients in now, which is basically just the juice of half a lime, and I'm going to add the other half of the juice to the curry once it's cooking. Some fresh red chili. Now ideally what you want is yellow or orange chilies for this, just for the colour, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get any. We've got some ginger, just roughly cut up, that goes in. We've got 1 stalk of lemongrass, which also goes in, 4 cloves of garlic, 1 shallot diced up, and that is it. So what we'll do now, pop the lid on, get this on the blender, blend it up, and we can start cooking. Right, get that lid on, and then just give it a bit of a mix up. And now we blend. That should be okay. There we go. Smells absolutely incredible. So many flavours going on in that. Right, so now we can start cooking. Now, let's get this on. Just a medium to high heat. And then I've got some coconut oil here. Just want a bit of that in the pan. Go a little bit more. And that's going to melt down nicely. There we go. Once that starts melting down, we can get all of that paste in there. Now this should be the perfect amount for what I'm doing, but if you doubled this recipe, you can easily keep this in the fridge in an airtight container or freeze it, and then you can just use it whenever you wish. It's always nicer making your own paste. Some of the shop bought ones, the Thai branded ones, are actually very good. So it can be quick for a weekday meal, but it is nicer to make it yourself. Just a bit tricky getting it all out, that's the only problem. So there we go. And we're just going to gently fry that off to start with. And then what we'll do is we'll add some of the coconut milk, and then I'm going to put the potatoes in first because they'll take the longest to cook. The fish I'm just going to drop in at the very last minute because that will only take 2 or 3 minutes to cook through. But that there is what you're looking at. A lovely paste there. And once you've had the coconut milk, it'll have a bit of a yellow tinge to it, hence the yellow curry. So here we've got the black bream all prepped and ready to go. Now obviously just filleted. I didn't film any of this because I've done it many times on my channel, and I just like to keep the video to a certain length. But basically, just be sure to remove all the bones. Bream like this, especially this size, have little tiny pin bones in, so get all of those out, cut it up into pieces, and it really will cook really quickly once it's in the curry. Now this is bubbling away nicely. Soon I'm going to add some of the coconut milk, and then the only other things I'm going to add to this is a bit more soy, possibly a bit more tamarind, and maybe a bit more sugar. Now with Thai things, it's about balancing the sweet, salty and sour. The sweet obviously comes from sugar, like palm sugar that you're using. Sometimes people use honey. The sour comes from the tamarind, which comes in a few different forms. I've just got a like puree in a jar here. And the saltiness obviously comes from the soy sauce. So if you get all of those balances right, it works perfectly. This is looking good. Now what I want first of all, as you can see, the coconut milk here solidifies. So I'm going to put the fatty part of it, which is the top part, in last. And I want the watery bit first. So all of that watery liquid goes in, and you're left with this. And we're going to add that towards the end because that's going to create a nice creamy texture for it. So I'll leave this simmer 5 minutes or so, and then we'll start getting the veg in. So that's bubbling away nicely, and I'm just going to give it a little taste now. Ooh, that's good. Now that is not going to need any more sweetness. Possibly just a bit of soy in there. The sour is also going to come, not just the tamarind, but also the lime juice as well. So I've also got that other half of lime to still add. But first off, go in the potatoes. Give those 5-6 minutes to cook through. And then we'll add the tender stem broccoli. We'll pop the fish in. And the cherry tomatoes, just literally a minute in the pan. You don't want to cook them right through and turn them to mush. dash more of soy sauce, and that is pretty much all I think it needs. Now what I'm actually doing is, I'm actually making this for my dinner this evening for me and my girlfriend, but I thought I'd show you like the cooking process. Of course I'm going to have a little taster beforehand, but because I'll be having it in a couple hours time, I know it's not ideal, just going to have to reheat it, but it is what it is. I'll cook a little bit of rice later on, we'll also have that with it, but yeah, I will be giving it a taste once this is finished anyway. Right, that's good. Right, so now it's time to go in with the broccoli. Just get all of that in there. And I'm going to add the rest of the coconut milk. And then just a tiny drop of water in there. Rinse it round. Give that a stir. And then in literally a minute or two, I'm going to get the fish in there. And I'll add the rest of the lime juice and the tomatoes. And we'll be good to go. I'm just going to pop a lid on. Turn it down a fraction. And it will nearly be time to eat. Let's get that fish in there. I just want to drop it in. And once the fish is in there, you don't really want to be stirring it too much. Now Bream's actually quite good because it's got a very good texture. But if you're using something like pollock or something like that, even bass, it tends to break up quite a lot. So it's best just to drop it in and then pop the lid back on. Give it a slight stir, obviously. Just like that. I'll give you a little show of how it's looking at the moment. That lid's going to go back on. We'll leave that for another few minutes. That is looking good. In with the rest of the lime juice. And then the cherry tomatoes. And that's literally just going to need another minute or so, and then I'm going to take it off the heat. So, my work here is done. I'll give you a little show. But that looks absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to give it a little taste test now, and then that's dinner sorted for in a couple hours time. Now I'm literally just going to have a tiny amount with a couple of bits of fish in there. And maybe a bit of broccoli. It is smelling good. So time for the taste test. The Bream, you can see, just falls apart. Got a bit of Bream, bit of that potato, and that lovely curry sauce. It's a winner every time, every single time. I'm actually really looking forward to having this properly later on. But that is so nice. Lovely veggies in there, beautiful fish. Now obviously this would go much better with some rice. Also got some crackers as well that I'll have with it later on. But It's absolutely lovely, that. Really, really simple thing to do. Thai curry paste, don't be afraid of making them. They're dead easy. And like I said, you can keep them in the fridge or freeze them, and then you can use them any time of the week. The bream's beautiful. Well, that was absolutely lovely. Now, I'm going to cut the video there, because as I said, I don't want it to go on too long. Now, it wasn't the best fishing session I've ever had. It was very frustrating with, well, very little fish really, but it was lovely to get out. We've had some beautiful weather over the last couple of days. So maybe we're getting a bit of a late summer, fingers crossed. It was really fun to get out, and to get a free meal out of it as well makes it all the worthwhile. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, then please hit the like button. Any questions or anything like that, then please leave it in the comments. And until the next time, I'll see you on the next one.